Uh, EMS Natchiappan.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir. I am very happy that the red flags which were flying for the past so many years for not allowing the merchant shipping amendment bill and also many other bills by the opposition. Now the opposition is raising the green flag so that the India can develop, India can become the most powerful country in the world with all the economic development and globalized economy is in the hands of the India. Sir, I appreciate this bill and I feel that it is a high time for us to make active participation in many of the international forums. I'll just read one portion of the uh, article of the United Nations International Maritime Organizations Convention. Article 1A, I quote it, sir, of the convention are to provide machinery for cooperation among governments in the field of the governmental regulation and practices relating to the technical matters of all kinds affecting shipping engaged in international trade to encourage the facilitate and general adoption of the highest practical standards in matters concerning the maritime safety, efficiency of navigation, and prevention and control of the marine pollution from ships. Unquote, sir. This clearly shows how the United Nations and the conventions are asking every country to come forward with certain international parameters. But, sir, India is allowing always every right to the executive to go and sit in the conventions, whether to participate, whether to take it as a ratification process or make it as a domestic law. But it is a high time that Parliament should also be taken into confidence in wherever there is a convention, whether it is a maritime convention or any other convention at the international level should be brought to the notice of the Parliament so that the people can understand very well about the issues. Sir, the UNCLOS, that is the United Nations Law of Seas, are having many of the conventions already have been signed by India. Many of the conventions we participated, but it was not brought into the domestic law. Because if you see this, sir, this amendment bill, which is 1958, Merchant Shipping Act 1958, has repealed around 35 acts into one code, shipping, Mercantile Shipping Act. Therefore, it is the time for us to bring the entire international conventions into a codification in the maritime system so that we are also competing with all the valor to have the international trade in our side. Sir, there is a class 2 is now moved by the Honorable Minister for uh, the amendment, further amendment. I'll just read that portion, sir. Indian ships which are below 400 gross tonnage are not engaged in international voyage and which the words Indian ships entitled to fly Indian flag, which are of 400 gross tonnage and above, with appropriate conditions as applicable for each type of ships, are not engaged in international voyage. This is to be substituted. I appreciate it. This reflects the consultation with the local people who are engaged in the shipping activities through the domestic ports. But the thing which will also affect certain cases of bilateral relationship. If you take for smaller ships to Sri Lanka or Myanmar or for Bangladesh or to Pakistan, we need to have smaller fish also to take the load to the nearby ports. Therefore, I feel the government feels it. At least next time they can bring, if at all, now next time I just quote it, except on bilateral agreements with neighboring countries. If this clause is also included, then it will not affect the states which are nearby. For example, I will quote the important for this particular thing. Our Honorable Minister Pon Radhakrishnan is with you. Only one minister from Tamil Nadu, where there was 17 ministers once in the cabinet of the government of India. Now we are having only one, precious one. He is also with you, sir. Therefore, I feel that Kolachal port, which is having in his constituency, I hope, It has to be developed. The state government is investing huge money. At the same time, the central government should also give the helping hand. Similarly, sir, Tuticorin is having a high capacity to compete with Colombo, provided this type of tonnage is to be taken into consideration, of smaller ships are to be allowed there, and transporting ships should also be allowed there. Similarly, if we make it some more depth calculation, then we will be benefited by bringing a competitive trade in the with the Colombo. Colombo airport is now drawing entire international shipping. For example, I will take the example of when I was the minister, there was a issue came. Firecrackers from Sivakasi was to be taken to Colombo for exporting to the foreign countries. That means we are not having even smaller ships allowed in Tuticorin to take the ships, to take the load to the, throughout the world, so that our market is improved. Therefore, the Tuticorin port should be further improved so that we are competing with the Colombo. Similarly, sir, the Talamannar Rameshwaram, this is a small strait of 22 kilometers, which we call it as a Ramar Bridge, without affecting the Ramar Bridge, without affecting the sales Samtram project. We can bring the system of having a smaller ship transport between India and Sri Lanka through from Rameshwaram to Talamannar, which is a very big ambition for the people who are living in the southern part of the Tamil Nadu. And also, sir, there is a United Nations Economic and Social Cooperation Scheme is there. By that scheme, the entire Asian countries is going to be connected by the bridges and also the other routes. Therefore, if that is taken up, then Myanmar, Arunachal Pradesh, Kolkata, and then it will come towards the Tamil Nadu also. It has to go through the Rameshwaram and it has to link to the Talamannar, Colombo. This, if this is taken of like a bridge which was already in existence of Indira Gandhi's bridge between the mainland of Pamban to the Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram and Talamannar is connected by a bridge. Then we will have a very good potentiality of having the trade between the Sri Lanka and India. Similarly, sir, I would like to draw the attention of the Honorable Minister that many of the issues are to be settled in certain cases. If you look at the amendments which you are carrying out in the Amendment Bill 2013, Bill number 21 of 13, there are many annexures were given. These annexures are giving certain what is the specification for various type of ships and loading and also the tonnage and other things. These regulations are to be consulted with the stakeholders. Many of the things we are not consulting the stakeholders. We are coming on the basis of certain calculations which are coming before the executive and we are bringing the bill. But when it is affected, the people are affected and the foreign country peoples are benefited by bringing these parameters. Therefore, I request the minister, before notifying the amended section 356Q, there should be a consultation of the stakeholders so that all the people are taken into consideration before coming into any type of acceptance of the international norms. Sir, finally, I request that again I have to speak for the Tamil Nadu because it is having a very high potentiality of industrial development. Since the Sri Lankan issue was there, the development of Sri Lanka and also the Indian southern part of Sivaganga, Ramanathapuram and Virudhunagar till Kanyakumari was stopped till now. It can revive its own growth by having good sea facilities, port facilities. Munkayur is a small village where there was a port at the time of Shri Kamaraj as the chief minister in 1957. After a cyclone, it was abandoned. Therefore, it has to be revived. It is a high sea port. It has to be brought in. That will help us to solve the Sri Lankan problem. Our fishermen need not go to the other part of the shore, but they can go to the high seas so that they can be benefited by having this facility. Similarly, the Honorable Minister is looking after the national road also. Therefore, I request you, sir, that Cochin Tondi, that was connecting the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, is the important national highways that has to be improved. And the Tundi is the ancient Pandya's period port that should also be revived. These are all things it can be taken up quickly with the private sector participation. We can bring it very quickly. There is no need for further expenditure from the side of the India, because the Vilicham in Kerala is one of the example where the state government and private participation has brought a very big Trivandrum port that has brought in the Cochin port also, Villingam. Villingam and the Cochin, these are the two examples where we can bring it as a best part of the seafare so that the people can benefit it. And finally, I want to say that the seafarers who are coming back to the port, they should also get the same facilities which are available in the ship. We are now coming to the international standard of providing certain facilities to them as a seafarer on the seas. But when they came back to the port, they should also get the same facilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.